I see
Broadway.
that you're finally wearing the glitter jacket.
Yeah, I did.
You've
I
never
did.
wore it on the
Since
show
it's our
before.
first show tonight.
This is
You know,
our
we're doing
first
this.
show on Village Connection Network. I'm really excited.
Way to go. Give me
You
5
know,
on that.
that's
Let's
it.
do this.
Yeah.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Heather Lee, how are you, sweetheart? We're shipping
I'm doing
shirts
great.
away.
I had to call in because I just wanted you guys to pay extra shipping to get my shirt.
Thank you, Heather.
Actually, I'm going to give them to your father, and he's going to ship them to you.
Oh, in that case, I'll never get it.
Brought up a really good point, Darren.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. It sounds like somebody's in heat. It's good.
How are you, Music Man, this week?
I'm
Really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
wow. See, I got a fantastic. You just got good. I got fantastic. What kind of toy did she like? I'm kidding.
Come on, he always goes there. Were you drinking before the show? One of the cardinal rules. Two things you never do to a woman. You never say they're old, and
But
you
I'm
never
not
say
married.
they're
I'm
heavy.
never going to see
You
her
never ask
again.
them
What's
how
the
much
difference?
Wait a second.
We both know I won't be seeing you again.
You know Lauren for a long time.
Yes, I do. By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a Yankee station. John, it's a Yankee station.
All right?
Fourth extravaganza.
Hell no.
Hi, Eileen. Eileen's on.
Hi, Eileen.
So,
Eileen Karina is on.
yeah,
Oh,
she's
hi,
watching.
Eileen.
Great question.
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
No,
What the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. John's not calling you chicken.
Did you just call me a chicken?
I called you a chicken. I did call you a
You
chicken.
called me a chicken.
I called you a chicken. Hey, right? So this.
Help.
I gotta get him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
A cough
Because-
button would be a good idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great question.
There you go. I got
Pythons
one.
and brains.
But our own John from Hazlitt provided the confetti for the ticker tape parade. Hey, sorry. This, yeah, I was just gonna say, this show's about him. It's not about you.
Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm
this week.
absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that
telling
you
you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you, and he called. And
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. And I am the Music Man, and a.k.a. Norman Wasserman. And a.k.a. over here is Darren Dimples.
AKO?
A.k.a.
A.K.A. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. Actually, last week was pretty exciting, right? Last Wednesday night?
Well, yeah, we had about 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon. We happened to be invited to the Orchard Estate grand opening,
Yes,
which is
that
an
was
assisted
great.
living building, part of the Beechwood organization out of upper United States. Where are they from?
They're in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
But I didn't, and we took some video, which I didn't get a chance to cut up yet, but
What a gorgeous Hey,
facility.
if you ever need
Gorgeous
to get
facility.
put in someplace, this was just.
I tell you what, I wanted to move in. I was walking around.
And the food.
The food. They got
It's crazy.
And we met the chefs and all this other stuff. It was, I mean, it
was just delicious.
unbelievable. And we also met, if you guys remember when Orchard was on, right? And Doug was talking about this boxing class that he got certified for. We found Norman's opponent at there. So stay tuned. This is going to be coming up. We're
I'll
gonna
just
be going
give you a
in
hint.
with it.
He doesn't have arms.
He doesn't have arms, and it looks like he can still beat Norman. But
Yeah,
that's
It's all right. That happens.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
of the age, and it's a good thing we didn't show up here last week.
right. Yeah, because that storm was something else. It
Yeah,
actually
I
took
mean-
my pool cover off.
I'm not.
Yeah, it was-
I'm
it
not
was
happy. The reason why we didn't come it was because Stu happened to have had a hip transplant and he couldn't make it.
The rain and the winds were so
Boy,
bad.
Crazy.
You got to see all the branches and stuff down in my yard. It's
But
like
we're here
unbelievable.
tonight, and it's beautiful
We're here tonight.
outside, and it's great.
So how was your week?
Week was great.
How was Renee's birthday?
Good visit was very lovely. We were stuck in a house.
I couldn't go anywhere.
But she was happy. I brought her home some pastries from, from the event.
All right.
Which was I stuck a candle in it.
There you go.
And we went to sleep. What
So
are
you
you
went
doing?
all out.
You're
There you go.
70. That's it.
Well, that's
Try
cool.
to do whatever, but you know, too old.
So yesterday, I saw our friends from the American Cancer Society.
Oh, you okay?
They had, I was, Civil Air Patrol. We helped them out with the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was the walk down at Jones Beach, and they had almost 70,000 people show up.
Wow.
Well, great
It's
weather.
even more than we get.
Great weather, yeah. It's a couple more than we get.
Yeah, but
Not
they're
too
really,
many.
really good.
But I'm excited about tonight's show. This is our first political show.
Well, it is, but
You
it
know?
isn't, because it's kind of like independent. But let me just
Well, he's
tell
not a
everybody
politician. That's the key.
Exactly.
He's not a politician.
Exactly. He's a businessman. He's a journalist. He's an overall really, really good guy. I met our guest, which we'll mention his name in just a second, about a month or so ago. I was at a networking breakfast called the Long Island Breakfast Club, which meets in Hempstead. And this gentleman happened to be there.
Yeah.
And I walked over, as I do, and I say hello, and I introduced myself. And we just started chatting. The way he presented himself, the professionalism and such that he showed was, I just said, you need to...
Well, that's what we need in our politicians. We need them to be there for the people.
Exactly, and
not,
he was
not for their own
all
agenda.
all that. I mean, his image is already built.
Yeah.
I mean, he has his business image, he has his journalistic image, he's got all of that. But now he's really, really there for the people, and he doesn't have a political party.
Well, that's a beautiful
You
thing.
know, because if
So
he
let's-
did, he probably wouldn't be here right now, because you and I don't go there. That's
Right.
not what this show's about.
That's not what this show's
But he
about.
happens to be an independent, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy, and we're going to introduce him now, Michael Maloney.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for being here.
Now, Michael, just so everybody knows, you're running for Nassau County Legislature for District 14, right? Which is Garden City,
South, Carl Place, and parts of Westbury, Old Westbury, Jericho, Hicksville, Bethpage, West Hempstead, and Hempstead.
Okay, so when you, I'm going to use your question then, Norm. When you were a kid,
We got plenty of them.
on the playground,
Right.
playing and things like that, did you ever think you would be in politics?
No, never.
Okay.
My father was a Reagan Republican,
Mm-hmm.
so I watched. I think the first election I was able to vote for was the first George Bush.
Okay.
That election. So, as a kid, I wasn't too impressed with politicians, and even as I
As
got
a
older,
senior, I'm not too impressed with
Right,
politics.
and
neither am I.
I'm still not all that impressed with politicians. But I was interested in public service. So my father was a high school principal in Massapequa. So he was very involved in his community, as a principal. So I admired people who were involved in their communities in some way.
Well, and that's the thing, right? What I think a lot of our politicians forget is where they came from,
Right.
and what their communities and what they're really there to do, right? It's
Right.
just sometimes they get caught up in all the other minutia that they're doing, and it doesn't seem like that's where you're going. So tell us a little bit about your background. You know, you obviously you did well. You graduated from Garden City High School, right? And you went on to college.
Right.
So what was your career like? What is your day job?
Right. So I went to college.
Where'd you go to school? Hofstra or someplace?
I went to Hofstra University. I while I was there, I was interning at Anton Community
Publishing?
Newspapers, which owns a dozen and a half local newspapers in Nassau County for the most part. And I got a journalism bug, and I stuck with that. So after my sophomore year, my mom had passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I was just focused on in newspapering. I kind of lost focus on school. At about that time, Mr. Carl Anton offered me a whole newspaper to be the editor-in-chief of, the Farmingdale Observer.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 20 years old.
Okay,
Really?
wow,
That's
that's a
crazy.
big step.
Right, and this is about 1990. So at that time, if you remember, Long Island was in a pretty good recession right then. The defense industry had taken a big hit. Long Island was heavily exposed to the
That's when Grumman moved out.
defense industry. All those guys moved out, and all my older friends at Hofstra University were ones who were graduating with good degrees, couldn't even find real good jobs. So for someone to offer me a job in the profession that I wanted to go into, I grabbed it. So I was a journalist for about 6 years. After the Farmingdale Observer, they added the Massapequa Observer onto my plate. And then I left Anton briefly, but then I came back to do my own hometown newspaper, the Garden City Life, when my mentor, Eileen Murphy, left the paper.
Is this an Irish thing or something?
No, it's just
Maloney.
Maloney, Murphy,
no, she was the one who actually got me into
thing.
into journalism.
Right.
I was originally an accounting major at Hofstra for maybe half a semester,
Okay.
and her husband.
So you didn't like accounting?
No,
I'm an accountant.
Yeah, for some reason I
just.
just took accounting 101 in high school, and I figured it was going to be easy. But
Right.
but journalism seemed to be my first love and my first talent. And Eileen Murphy helped realize that, and she was the first adult to treat me like an adult, and that's how I got into it.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic that you were doing that.
Yeah.
So you were with the paper for how long were you doing the paper?
I was a journalist for 6 years, for the most part, mostly with Anton newspapers.
So about 25, 26,
Yeah.
you decided it was time to move on?
I got married at the age of 25.
Okay.
And I figured, journalism was great, and I wouldn't pass up the experience, but it didn't pay all that well.
Okay.
If I wanted to buy a house, raise a family, I had to look for something a little more lucrative. And at
You had
that
to take bribes then and stuff like that.
Bribes.
You know,
He's
like in
not
politics.
taking bribes.
Oh,
he's
no?
not.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, it's not my
But he
MO.
said politics.
Yeah, but he's not in politics at this point.
Oh, okay.
He's not. Come on, he's not even in politics right now.
Let's go. Let us continue.
So at that moment, I was contacted by a PR agency, Shandwick, which is one of the bigger agencies in New York City. They had seen one of my journalism roles was I was the editor of a small trade publication called Office World News that covered office technology.
Okay.
And Shandwick had a client, Sharp Electronics, and they needed a PR person to help them with their office products, their copiers, fax machine, printers. So they figured, he knows the content. We can teach him the PR part.
Right.
And that's what happened. And the timing was perfect. So I jumped to the PR agency side, and I spent 4 years at Shandwick, then 2 years at Burson Marsteller, which was another big one.
Did you work in a city? In Manhattan?
I did. In the both jobs were in the Flatiron district, which is a great neighborhood, right? And I was on the Sun Microsystems account in the .com era.
So you got exposure to some really big companies.
Right.
And got to work with them that had to be a great experience.
It was a great experience, and that was at the height of the .com bubble. So the bubble burst.
Oh, big time.
Right. And Burson Marsteller had at the time 100 people in their technology PR practice. Almost immediately after the .com bubble burst, Sun Microsystems dropped us, and we were pitching new business. And one of those new businesses was IBM. And I had met through my prior contacts at Shandwick and Sharp, a few friends that ended up at IBM, and they asked me to come on board there.
So you actually went to IBM, and IBM
I went to IBM
at that time,
2001.
IBM was in that recovery period.
Yes, this was
'Cause they took
this was
a
in the middle
big
of Lou
hit.
Gerstner.
Right.
He had just turned the company around. They were on the upswing at the time, and it seemed like a good time. The .com bubble had burst.
Right.
All the fakers had gone out of
Disappeared.
business, and companies like IBM were still standing.
How long were you there for?
I was at IBM for 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
2001 to 2011.
So you cut your teeth there.
Yeah, and it was the best experience from a PR perspective ever. That they, their PR function.
Was it in-house PR company, or did they send things out?
We had both. We had dozens upon dozens of in-house PR people, but we also hired big agencies like Ketchum and Text 100 and things like that to help us.
Okay, so your experience at IBM got you to where? Now, you said you were there till 2011. What did you do after that?
Yeah, so after that, I ended up at Canon USA here in
Okay.
Melville, and I was there for a few years.
All right.
Again, I was going back to my office products roots, and I was doing PR for their copiers and fax machines.
Because you understood the industry, you knew how to present.
Between Sharp, IBM, and Canon,
Yeah.
looks pretty good on a resume.
Yeah, and it's fun work, and Canon's a great company. They are one of the top 3 every year in patent applications.
Have you been there recently?
I was there when they transitioned from Lake Success to Melville. So
I was there about 4 or 5 months ago. Unbelievable.
The new facility.
Security.
the facility's great, but they're big in the security there. Yes.
You can't get near. Forget about passing the front gate.
Yeah.
You can't get near it without cameras and such being on top of you.
Well, that's not necessarily
They
for
take the
everybody.
safety of their
That's
employees
basically
very
for you.
seriously.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
They do that for you.
I have a
They don't do that.
reputation.
That's what it is, exactly. They see you coming and right
Watch
away.
out.
But, okay, so you were at Canon for a few years.
Right.
Right? And then what?
And then the opportunity came along to, I was contacted by a data security company in Stamford, Connecticut, and it gave me the opportunity to start a PR function from scratch at a smaller technology firm.
So that sounded like a challenge.
Yeah, it did sound like a challenge, and it was one that I grabbed because, over the years at IBM and Canon and the big agencies, I had done slivers of the PR function, right? But here I got to put everything I've learned in my career into one job.
So all this
and invent it
accumulation
scratch.
from these big companies that you
Yeah.
had, now you were able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go and start this from scratch. And
I learned the good and the bad of public relations.
Where did you live? Did you stay in Garden City?
I stayed in Garden
So
City.
you commuted up to IBM to Harrison.
First, it was Somers for 2 years, then it was White Plains for 2 years, then it was Armonk for 2 or 3 years, and then I was actually in the city at Park
Well, the city
at
was
11 Madison.
That was the easier trip.
Yeah,
That was the
city
easiest
amazing.
of them.
And they also IBM at the time encouraged people to work from home a couple days a week. They're
They're
very
one
big
of
on
the
a
first
mobile
to do
workforce.
that, I guess.
I heard they're going back the other way, but at the time it was great. I got to work from home a couple days a week, so it made it a lot more bearable.
all right, so you started this thing. Now, why politics? What made you decide, hey, you know what? I got to throw my hat in the ring and I got to make a change.
So after I got married and we bought a house in Garden City, I got involved in local, the property owners association.
Okay.
And we dealt with local issues, and it was all volunteer service. And I got the bug then, but then my daughter was born in 2005. So for about 10 years, I kind of I took a step back from that. And then in about 2015, there was an issue where the Nassau County OTB proposed putting a casino at Fortunoff.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really bad idea.
So did a lot of people.
Especially since OTB...
Well, come on, it's very close, right? Fortunoff, OTB, they
Yeah,
kind of,
and-
right?
And Roosevelt was
Right.
behind there before the shopping center went up.
Yeah, it just seemed like a bad idea and a bad location given the traffic and the local community across the street in Westbury, and it just didn't seem like a good idea. So I contacted my local legislator and said, how can we stop this? And they gave us the runaround, saying we can't do anything. It's a state agency, and they can do this stuff. So we were able to mobilize a grassroots opposition, and we actually learned that the legislature appoints the OTB board. So if they wanted to put the kibosh on it, they could have just put new people on the board.
Right.
And didn't want it.
Right.
So public opposition did eventually. OTB
didn't go in.
took back the.
So that was your beginning.
That
right?
was my beginning.
So if somebody wants to help out your campaign or get in touch with you and ask some questions, right? How can they do that?
Sure. Facebook is probably the best way. I'm at Maloney for Nassau is my campaign on Facebook. Also, MaloneyforNassau.com is my webpage, and on there you'll see my cell phone number, or you can email me at maloneyfornassau@gmail.com.
Right, and the number you can reach him at is 516-578-5535.
Correct.
Right, Mike?
That's my personal cell phone number.
That's his personal cell phone
And they
number.
get right
he
to you
says
then.
They get right to you. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the challenges that Mike had early in life that he had to overcome, as well as continue on why he decided, you know what, I really need to do this.
Yeah, I got to find that out.
And I need
to do that.
What got him that bug? Because I know you
And if people want to call up, it's 631-415-1365. Give Mike a call, or if you have a question about Mike or about the politics that he's living for right now, please give us a call. Again, 631-415-1365, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Hi, this is Doug Cormack, Executive Director of Orchard Estate of Woodbury, Woodbury's first assisted living and memory care community. We're opening this summer for seniors who need a little or a lot of assistance with things like taking their medication, meals, or just a maintenance-free lifestyle. Our experienced staff keeps seniors and their families connected to what matters most. Call us today to inquire about our model apartments and discover how Orchard Estate of Woodbury is providing the lifestyle Long Island seniors deserve. Call 516-246-2167. That's 516-246-2167, or visit orchardestatewoodbury.com. Licensure pending.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas. We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com, or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698.
Small business owners, are you having trouble growing your business? Do you feel like you're always swimming upstream? Do you feel that daily tension that I can't get ahead and I don't know why? Hi everybody, my name is Darren Sayafi and I'm a business therapist. What's a business therapist? Well, some people call us coaches, some people call us advisors, other people even call us strategists. We take a vested interest in you and your personal development as a person and as a business owner to give you the tools and structure that you need to take it to that next level. So don't wait. Give me a call today for your free consultation and let me show you how you can help yourself.
And welcome back to the Business Powwow with Darren and the Music Man. And we have here Mike Maloney, who is an independent running for county legislator in Jericho, Hicksville, Bethpage, Hempstead, West Hempstead, Garden City, South Car Place, and Westbury,
That's
right? And Old Westbury.
District 14, right?
District 14 in Nassau County.
I could have said that easier, just District 14, but then nobody would have
No
known
one
what
really
it
knows
is.
what district they're in.
Right,
You're
yeah.
right.
So and that's part of the issue. We had a discussion before,
Yep.
right? And in our notes, we see, early in your life, you had an affliction. You
Right.
still have the affliction, but you've kind of beaten it back.
Beat the crap out of it.
Beat the crap out of it, but you have a stuttering. You had a stuttering problem at a younger age. You were just telling us during the break that it's actually cost you some jobs in your life. So tell us what that was like going through and how you overcame that.
What did you do to
What did
beat
you
it?
do? Right.
Well, first of all, as a kid, it kind of developed, I guess, prior to kindergarten and getting into school, and kids would tease you. I also had glasses at the time, and
Oh, boy.
and,
Oh, so
and I had a
you're
name like
getting-
Maloney, so people used to say I'm full of baloney. Michael Maloney's full of baloney.
Right.
So I had a lot. I was teased a bit, but I always thought it was good natured teasing. I didn't let it get to me. I actually never
But
let
that's
it.
just your disposition. I mean, that's the
Possibly.
way that you are.
So like I never let the stuttering get in the way of anything. If I had something to say, I said it. If it took me longer than some other kids, that's fine. They had to deal with it. But as I got older, I did want to address it. The school district offered speech therapy services, and I took advantage of that, and I did okay. And then after my junior year of high school, I went to this intensive program in New York City. I think it's called the Precision Fluency Shaping Program. And they really taught me how to speak, to kind of relearn kind of the physical motion of speaking.
Words and letters.
They kind of broke down how you speak and built it back up again. So it has given me the tools I need so that when I feel that I'm not as fluent as I should be, I can kind of revert back to...
Because I say every once in a while you start having a little trouble. Is
Yeah,
that because you're
sometimes I
getting
get-
excited?
Sometimes I get too excited about what I want to say, and
I
most
I
non-stutters...
just thought it was because you were sitting in the room with us.
Yeah,
that you're
well,
getting excited.
well, that's true too. But most
I'll give you an
non-stutterers...
autograph. No problem.
He's got headshots. He does
Whereas
autographs.
most non-stutterers have to think about, or most non-stutterers don't have to think about the physical production of speech.
Right.
Whereas stutterers need to think about where the muscles are and how different sounds are produced. So the program I went through gave me the tools to use them when I feel like either through being tired or stressful situations that I can fall back on to help me get fluent again.
Okay. Well, that's and so it's great to hear that you didn't let the teasing bother you.
Right. And
because you don't
yeah.
see that a lot. You see a lot of
a lot
these
of
kids
stutterers do suffer socially and they suffer terribly, and they don't think they have anything to say, and they become isolated and closed off. And
Well, you have worked for some of the major companies in the world.
Right.
doing PR.
I mean,
doing PR where
representing
I have to talk to
those
CEOs
companies and
and
getting plans approved and,
Right.
and advertising and PR and whatever. So kudos to you, my
Yeah.
friend. Very,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
Really.
Really,
really.
really good. That's
Thank-
reason enough to vote for you.
Well, thankfully, journalism and PR is a results-oriented business. So you can prove your worth by getting results, and
Right.
they'll overlook certain things if they don't, if they think it's getting in the way. But results will speak for themselves.
Well, I mean, do you and I'm sorry.
That's
I'm-
all right.
Do you ever, or did you ever get the feeling that people thought that you weren't as smart as you are because of your stuttering?
I don't know. That's a good question. I honestly have never thought about it.
Because I get the impression sometimes that people think that people who stutter are just so nervous and they're not, smart. And I know people who stutter who are just brilliant people.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, like any handicapped person.
Yeah.
They get this stigma
Any
about
disability,
them.
there's
Any
always something.
disability, there's a stigma around it where people think, well, they're different, so they're not like us, and they're not as smart as us, and all these other things. Did you ever feel that?
No, I don't think I ever.
Okay, I'm
felt
asking
it,
that
or
question.
if it was there, I just ignored it, and
Well, you proved it to me.
yeah.
Now let's go on to talk about the bugs. I would like to know, I don't live in, what's it, you said District 14?
District 14.
District 14, but I'm out there, and I want people to think a particular type of way. What is it that you're strong against, that you're involved with, that people are going to want to, if they're not in your corner yet, they're going to want to come to you? What is it? What are your beliefs, and what do you think things should be? How should we change certain things? And you can go anywhere you wish.
Well, I mean, Nassau County doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to their politicians, right?
And that's part of it. So after 2016, I got frustrated with the way politics was going in Washington, in Albany, and even locally. And I would often find myself, as my wife says, ranting on Facebook about these issues. And
Let me interrupt one second. Can you mention some of those issues, some of the things that bothered you, and then we can address them? What you did about them?
It's the typical issues that came up during the 2016 campaign by Trump and the other side. I don't know if we want to get so into that, but I didn't like the way I thought the campaign brought out a lot of negative things about our country and where it was headed in terms of the lack of compassion for people who are unlike us, people who, immigrants and people of color who just want to live and work just as hard as we do and provide for their families. And I thought they were being demonized by a certain segment of the political
on both sides.
On both sides, but yeah. So the
election almost brought out how it just showed how politicians use us as pawns to get what they want.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Both sides were using certain people to get what they want, and they didn't want to solve. I didn't get the sense either side wanted to really solve the issues. They just want to use the issues to get elected and to get power. They don't seem to have any idea on how to govern.
Well, it's pretty obvious with what's going on down in Washington right now that's basically what's happening.
Right.
I'm frustrated with the fact that these guys aren't doing their job.
Right.
And all of this stuff is stalled and nothing is happening.
So
that's making me crazy.
Right. So at the time, my wife said, "Well, stop ranting on Facebook and do something about it."
Right.
So
put up or shut up.
Yeah,
right?
put up or shut up. And I was in my late 40s, or I was heading towards 50, and I kind of just reevaluated what I wanted to do with my life, and it was at about that same time that the Nassau County Democrats came to me. One of them had seen my so-called rants on Facebook, but they liked how I articulated the issues. You could understand both sides. Had a decent take on these things, and they said, "Did you ever think about running for local office?" And
yeah, but you were a Democrat, were you?
Or a Republican?
Or a Republican. Since I was a journalist way back when, I had never signed up. I was always registered to vote, but I never affiliated myself with a party. So, to their credit, the Democrats in this election cycle went out and sought Democrats, independents, and even a few Republicans on their ticket. Who they sought people who just want to fix government, who are anti-corruption, who just want to serve the people. So I like that message. I had done some research on how hard it would be for a true independent to run a race, and both parties make election laws, so they've really made it hard for a true independent to get on the ballot.
So basically, again, fixing the game, so to speak.
Right.
So only their people can get in.
Right.
And the Democrats, they were smart enough to say, hey, you know what? We need something different.
Right. And so there's a handful of independents on the ballot on the Democrat line, row A, and there's an existing legislator, Josh Lafazan from the Syosset area, who's an independent, who's a unaffiliated voter. They're called.
Now, you're on a Democratic ticket, right? You're on there. Are you also running as an independent? Are you running independent line?
So there's a common misunderstanding about the independence line.
Right.
That really is not for true independence.
Okay.
It's a political party like any other political party. I think they use that term to trick people to think that it's true independence. So I'm officially not an independent voter. The Board of Election calls it unaffiliated.
Okay.
So I'm an unaffiliated voter, and I'm running on the Democrat line as well as the Working Families Party line.
So you got the backing from the Working Families Party line.
Correct.
Also. So
who else is backing you?
Those are the only two political parties that have put me on the ballot. I haven't really sought out too many endorsements. That's all I
Gotcha.
need at this moment. I think.
So tell us about your campaign and how that's going. You talked about before, like, you don't have a lot of endorsements, so I'm assuming you don't have this big bankroll to go out and make these commercials and do these big speeches and things like that.
So what I'm doing is I'm my own campaign manager. Since I was in public relations and journalism, I think I know how to go about doing that. I design my own ads and campaign literature. I run my own website and Facebook page and Instagram page with my daughter's help.
So you're
helps
not
you with
kidding.
Instagram,
right? So you're not kidding when you say that people can get a hold of you and you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right there, so people can touch you and feel you and
Right.
And
Have people called you?
People have called me,
What do
but
they ask you? What do they ask you? Do they ask you about your opinions, or what do you plan on doing in this or that?
yeah, they people ask me about different issues that impact them, and some of the biggest ones I hear about are taxes are too high,
Right.
The water is unsafe, things like that.
What's
And
the strangest one you've ever gotten?
the strangest one? Some people, in general, people want you to fix stuff that the county government has nothing to do with, like
My neighbor's dog is barking too loud.
yeah,
something
or
like that.
or immigrants, or do you know what's going on with, the St. Paul's property in Garden City, where that's a Village of Garden City issue as opposed to a county issue, and part of it is a government's fault. We have so many layers of government that overlap each other.
Do you think
People don't know who's in charge of these problems?
Do you think there's too many layers?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love, and in addition to county, township, village, there are also library districts and water districts and fire districts and garbage districts and all these other districts that all have commissioners and boards and people that and
layers
employees
and
that
layers
and layers of salaries and benefits and it's out of control.
Yeah, because growing up on Long Island, I didn't know any better. My son went to school in North Carolina and actually stayed down there. He's a school teacher down there, and the way they do it is every county is a school district.
Right.
And it's not. I mean, we have hundreds of school districts on Long Island for two counties.
Right.
Right? So you think about all the superintendents and all this other stuff, and the amount of money they make, that's why our taxes are so high. The amount of money that all these, because each school district's got all these assistant superintendents and all this other stuff.
Two-thirds of your real estate taxes go to school districts.
Yes. And that's why, when you're older, I remember as my kids were growing up, the older generation didn't want to pay the increase in the taxes. Their kids had already finished school.
Right.
So they didn't have that.
All right, but people
issue.
forget that, other people were paying for their kids when they went through.
Right. Exactly.
And also, you don't want an uneducated public. The more educated the public is, the less crime, and
No, we
you know what I mean. So
that, yeah.
Do we have that same problem that there is in Washington and a lot of the other parts of the country, where I imagine we do. This is no different. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and one hand is not helping the other.
yeah, I think the biggest example of that here in Nassau County is the recent reassessment issue, where the prior county executive administration froze the tax rolls, and they encouraged people to grieve their taxes, and those who grieved were given tax breaks, and those who didn't grieve had to pick up the slack for the ones who were getting a break. So over 10 years, there was a $1.7 billion transfer of tax obligations to those who didn't grieve.
So basically what you're saying is everybody should grieve.
And you should grieve
it's
every
gonna-
year.
Well, you should create a system where you don't have, where everyone doesn't need to grieve.
Right. And that's the better
And that's what our
answer.
current county
that's not
executive
where
is
we
trying.
are.
We're in the current county executive, Laura Curran, is trying to implement a more fair and accurate tax assessment so that it will minimize the need for grieving. You'll always have the right to grieve if you think that the value given to your house is
less than what they're taxing it at.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you feel that the fair market value that the county thinks your house is way above what it really is, you can grieve, and you should grieve. But over time, it should become a more accurate tax roll, so that even if you do grieve and win, maybe the awards won't be as much, and the county won't shift as much tax burden onto people who can't afford it.
Right. Okay, so these are all great points. When we come back, we're going to talk more about some of the topics and some of the things that are really your bugs as to why you decided to run. Too. And then we're also going to talk about where people can see you and how they can get a hold of you. So one more time, if people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Well, they can
actually give them your phone number.
Yeah,
okay. My direct phone number is 516-578-5535. But you can also find me on Facebook at Maloney for Nassau, or on the internet at maloneyfornassau.com.
All right, great.
Thank you.
And we'll be back right after these messages.
Hey, this is Doug Cormack, Executive Director of Orchard Estate of Woodbury, Woodbury's first assisted living and memory care community. We're opening this summer for seniors who need a little or a lot of assistance with things like taking their medication, meals, or just a maintenance-free lifestyle. Our experienced staff keeps seniors and their families connected to what matters most. Call us today to inquire about our model apartments and discover how Orchard Estate of Woodbury is providing the lifestyle Long Island seniors deserve. Call 516-246-2167. That's 516-246-2167, or visit orchardestatewoodbury.com. Licensure pending.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas. We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com, or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698-9696, and we'll see you at the next show.
Small business owners, are you having trouble growing your business? Do you feel like you're always swimming upstream? Do you feel like daily tension that I can't get ahead and I don't know why? Hi everybody, my name is Darren Sayafi and I'm a business therapist. What's a business therapist? Well, some people call us coaches, some people call us advisors, other people even call us strategists. We take a vested interest in you and your personal development as a person and as a business owner to give you the tools and structure that you need to take it to that next level. So don't wait. Give me a call today for your free consultation and let me show you how you can help yourself.
Welcome back to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, and we're here with Michael Maloney, who's running for legislator in the 14th District in Nassau County. I got that one right.
That was it. You did good. You did good.
I got that.
Every once in a while.
There you go.
You do good.
We do it good. Even Jimmy like that. That's good. So.
And the 14th district includes
Garden
City,
Plainview, Garden City,
South,
this city, that
Car
city,
Place, parts of Hempstead,
some of those
West Hempstead,
make a left at the next right.
Westbury, Old Westbury, Jericho, Hicksville, and Bethpage. So
speaking of which, all these particular areas have the same issues. And part of them, or a majority of them, is economic development. How do we build within each town? Do we link towns sort of together on certain things, on housing? I mean, there's a big situation with housing. Keeping the younger people on Long Island and giving them an affordable place to go and stay, even though there aren't as many jobs as there used to be.
Or even the older people.
And even the older people. Now, senior living, is very, very important.
Yeah.
You know, what's in your mind in regards to helping the economic development in your district?
Sure. First of all, the economic development is needed because we aren't generating enough tax revenue from the existing tax base.
Why is that?
Mainly because
everyone taking a piece?
No, well, there is waste, fraud, and abuse that we can get out of government, but that only takes us so far. Nassau Nassau and Suffolk is the oldest suburb in the country, basically, right? So we've been slow to reinvent ourselves in terms of offering the new types of housing development and businesses that different generations of people need, both the aging population as well as the younger population. So when people complain about the taxes, and the only real solution is to expand the tax base. But each community has a different idea on what that means for their community. And I don't think one size does fit all. So, for example, Mayor Peter Cavallaro in Westbury has been working with his community to develop or to redevelop an industrial zone into a mixed-use residential and commercial zone right near the railroad station.
That's what they did in Ronkonkoma, right? The same type of thing?
Right, and in Patchogue and these other areas, it's called transit-oriented development. Now, that isn't for everybody, but even communities like Garden City, where, long before transit-oriented development was a buzzword, 150 years ago, Alexander Torney Stewart built a community and planned the community, and he allowed to put apartments near the railroad station and a downtown area, right? So a Garden City itself doesn't need to necessarily offer more of that, but other communities can take a page from that, right? So,
but you also, as a consumer and someone that's looking for housing, you pay a privilege, you pay a percentage to have the name Garden City at the end of your address, or Syosset, or Jericho, or Old Westbury, or any of these kind of places. Fair? Not fair?
Well, I don't know. It's all in branding, and I think every community has a shot at reinventing themselves and becoming a destination if they want it to be.
But not everybody has the economic income in a particular area where it can boost them.
Well, that's often because their tax base has fallen to a point where they don't have many options, right?
So how do you beat that? How do you get that to change? Like Westbury. Westbury is a perfect example. You got a really high price area in Westbury, and then not so nice.
Right. So I think the mayor of Westbury is doing a great job of redeveloping the downtown to help improve the economic outlook for the rest of the community.
But don't you find that in most areas where you have some really good parts of an area and then you have not so good parts of an area?
Right.
So,
well, a part of that is government bureaucracy, right? Again, the layers of government, whether it's town government, county government, village government, has to approve various, development projects, and they often don't do it in a way that sees the big picture.
Well, this is
Michael,
the guy
looks
that's
like
coming after you.
Okay. We're getting a call.
Good evening and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Who's calling?
My name is Susan. I'm the whole thing about the election, what we think of the election.
Okay. Hi, Susan. How are you this evening?
Welcome.
Fine.
Talk to us.
I will test my view point is, these negative commercials don't do anything. I have been so turned off by these negative commercials, I just can't even look at them.
You're right.
You're right, Susan. And Susan, I think I know who this is. And by the way, this is one of the best volunteers any campaign could ever have. She's doing a lot of hard work to get a lot of people elected. So thank you for that.
I'm working on several campaigns. Yes. Most of the people I can't even vote for.
Yes. No, she's doing a great job. But Susan, you're right about the negative campaigns, and both sides do it. I have refused to do it. I do my own advertising, and it's all been positive messages about me, my background, and my stances on things.
Well, shouldn't we, and that's Susan, you bring up a great point, because it becomes this me versus them instead of really talking about the issues and what you're going to do. Are you really qualified to do the job, and do you really know what's needed in order to do the job?
Right.
That's really what your advertising should be all about, right?
Right. And when I talk to people, they don't want to hear about the bad things the other guy's doing. Mm-hmm. They want to know what you want to do going forward. So even sometimes people have realized that their party may be in bad shape, and they don't need to be reminded of the fact that their
how can we
party,
make it better? That's what we want to do.
How do we make it better going forward? And also, if you get elected, you have to work with the other side. And mm-hmm. I'll take good ideas from any side. For example, Peter Cavallaro, who I was mentioning, mayor of Westbury, he's a Republican. So, a good idea is a good idea, and mm-hmm. I'll get behind any good idea. And I want to work with both sides. I want to be a moderating force on the legislature.
So it's not gonna be like battle royale when people come up against you then.
Well, I mean,
well, a good example of this, what the other party has done the last 2 years to Laura Gillen. They absolutely will not work with her. They keep playing games with her. It's disgusting.
Well, isn't that what's going on down in Washington too? It's like they're refusing to work with each other, which is, like I said, it's making me nuts, because that's all our tax dollars are paying their salaries, and they're not doing their job.
Exactly.
Over petty little things like, I pick my nose the wrong way, right, and therefore you don't like me. Well, right. I pick my nose pretty good.
Right. So I think, I've lead by example.
If Michael Maloney is there, tell him I say hi.
Well, Michael's talking to you right now, Susan. He's the one who's talking.
Yeah, Susan, thank you. So you're right about the negative advertising, and I believe that most of the candidates on our side, have for the most part stuck to the positive messages, and I would encourage both sides, as the last 2 weeks here of the election.
Unfortunately, I hate to say that the other side will not. They're going to keep on with that disgusting.
Thank you so much for calling, Sue.
Over and over, attack and spend stuff, and I won't go into the details. We all know what they have done. It's been a mess.
And we know, Susan. We hope Michael can make that difference to hopefully make
I know
change.
that. Like next Monday, I will be going. I'm not mentioning where, but I will be taking advantage of the early voting.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, excellent. Well,
I was actually involved with that whole thing with the early voting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Susan, we hate to cut you short, but we're running out of time.
Right.
We really thank you.
Okay.
We thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Susan.
And thank you for your help and support.
Yes. Thank you, Susan. All right. So, yeah, we're coming.
Do you do any town halls?
Yeah. So I was just at one on Friday night at the Islamic Center of Long Island in Westbury.
Okay.
They were one of the few organizations that actually invited all the candidates from both parties to come up and give a 3-minute introduction and answer some questions.
You picked a very interesting thing to mention.
Yeah.
When you talk about this particular mayor of Westbury, Westbury is a conglomerate of all different kinds of people. Absolutely. And for you to be at the Islamic Center and then be at the Roman Catholic Church and then be at a Jewish center and what have you is great for Westbury. That's bringing the people together. Absolutely. And sitting having a conversation. That's great stuff.
And I think it's up to elected officials to find the common ground amongst all those different groups.
There you go.
I'll argue until I'm blue in the face that we have more in common than we have differences. So it's incredible what we can accomplish if we all, work together.
That goes to what Susan's point was that, I'm Republican, you're Democrat, so therefore we can't work together.
Yeah.
And that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be, I'm Republican, you're a Democrat, we have differences, let's work together to resolve
To make things better.
To make
and
things better
especially
for
on the
everybody.
local, county level, town level, village level, national politics and national, idealism really don't matter. It's more about making sure we're running government in the most efficient way possible, that we're fixing the roads, that we're plowing the snow, and that we're helping each other figure out where we want to take Nassau County and Long Island into the future.
Right, and that's the big thing. Like I said, we're running short on time here. So
I told you this was going to fly.
Yeah.
If people want to come see you, where are you going to be over the next couple of weeks?
Well, actually, these last few weeks, the best place you're going to probably see me is when I knock on your door. I'm spending a lot of time ringing doorbells, introducing myself. There aren't too many public events left, so I'm hitting the road, and I've knocked on thousands of doors. For 15 weeks, I was a sponsor at the Garden City Friday night promenades, where I met thousands of people over 15 weeks. Right, so. Now it's crunch time, and now it's just who can knock on as many doors
as possible and meet as many people.
And again, if people want to help you and support you and get you elected, what do they do? Who do they call? What's that number?
Right. Well, they can call me at 516-578-5535. But if they really want to help, they can go to maloney.com/donate to help. Right. Raise a few more dollars to help me, post some more advertising and things like that. And the most important things people can do is vote. On November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th.
No matter whom you vote for,
November
just get
who you
out
vote
there and
for.
vote.
And this is the first year in New York State where people can vote early from starting this Saturday, October 26th, through Sunday, November 3rd. There are 15 locations in Nassau County, as well as X number in Suffolk County, where you can vote.
I just actually got something in the mail today saying I can go down to my town hall and vote on from October 25th up until the election.
For example, in Garden City, you can go to St. Paul's Fieldhouse. In Hicksville, you can go to Levitt Town Hall. There are 15 of these all around Nassau County. In each county, you should go to your county's Board of Elections website, and they'll give you the details and the hours each of these locations are open for.
So, Michael, we want to thank you for being on.
Really, you're a great guest. I'm glad I talked to you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We wish you the best of luck.
Really
because you know what?
Guy.
You're refreshing. You're not your typical politician, and that's what we like. And that's why we have you on.
I hope that's
here.
what comes through.
And we appreciate it.
You're not someone who sells roofs.
Right. So,
nothing wrong with roof sellers, though.
They do a great job.
We all need roofs.
But there you go.
There you go.
But thank you very much for being here. Thank you. We wish you a lot of good luck.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Go
good
vote.
Job.
Yes, go vote. So, what do you got coming up?
Saturday Night's ABBA. It's finally here.
Saturday night.
So no one's going to hear about ABBA next week. It's over.
So
instead, what you're going to hear about is the show that we're doing for the Melville Chamber of Commerce. That's going to have our tribute show. We're importing Hall & Oates.
Importing,
as in bringing them from another location.
Was it like another country?
Far away. I'm not saying, but it's going to be Hall & Oates and Huey Lewis and the News. So that's going to be a nice.
When is that going to be?
That's going to be April 25th.
Oh wow! Okay, so we got some time.
We got a couple of
so
things
I can put on my calendar now and make sure that.
So we got ABBA on Saturday. We got the Neil Diamond Dinner Show on November 9th. We got Donna Summer on November 10th. We also have the Lords of Flatbush, also November 2nd at the Tiller Center. So we got a bunch of stuff coming on, and I'd say, what about yourself?
It's the same old stuff going on with me.
I know it's still coming. That big surprise is still coming.
Big surprise is coming. As a matter of fact, we'll be working in the studio this coming Thursday to do that.
I might sneak by and just stop in and say
we're going to be here all day on Thursday, but.
It's going to be this studio?
We're going to utilize this studio. Jim's nice enough to let us use it.
Nice.
And Jim, pretty excited about getting in here.
We will have armed guards at the door.
I
this is super secret stuff. But Wednesday night, you got to tune in Wednesday night because we're going to have Paul George on.
That's right.
From Eagleware. We're going to show some of the work that he does off and
some of the work he's doing for us.
And some of the work that he's doing for us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be back Wednesday night at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
All right. Mm-hmm. This time I don't think we have to worry about the weather.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Because that storm, it was bad. I got a lot of branches down on my yard.
Yeah, it was kind of terrible.
So
Anyway,
good.
Till Wednesday.
Everybody have a great week.
Everybody have a good couple of days, and we'll see you Wednesday night, 8 o'clock sharp.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
They're all dead. The lines held up inside my head. I left here like a broken man with no idea of where I stand. Oh, my mind clears. Oh, I shed all my tears. Oh, now baby, I was just waiting here while you moved on. Security, this newfound freedom you kept from me. The sound of all your loaded guns. This outbreak war has just begun. The sound of all your loaded guns. This broken man has already won. Oh, my mind clears. Oh, I shall.